Hey Pisces, I need to talk to you about something that has been showing up so strongly in the energy around you lately. You know that feeling when you just know something is shifting? When the universe is rearranging pieces on the board and you can sense it even before you see it? That is exactly what is happening right now in your world. There is this palpable sense of vindication coming through, this feeling of cosmic justice finally catching up with certain people who thought they could operate without consequences. And Pisces, I am not talking about you seeking revenge or even thinking about these people anymore. I am talking about the universe itself stepping in to balance the scales. You have been through something, have not you? And I do not mean just a little disagreement or a minor falling out. I mean something that really tested you, something that involved multiple people maybe, or one person who rallied others, who tried to create this whole situation designed to break you down. There was strategy behind it, calculation, maybe even some smugness on their part because they thought they had the upper hand. But here is what they did not account for, what they could not have possibly understood about you. Pisces, you carry this quiet strength that people constantly underestimate. They see your kindness and mistake it for weakness. They see your willingness to believe in people and think you are naive. They see your emotional depth and assume you will drown in it when things get tough. What they do not see is that you are connected to something much bigger than their small-minded games. You are tuned into frequencies they do not even know exist. And while they were busy plotting and scheming and congratulating themselves on their cleverness, you were simply continuing to exist in your truth, continuing to move forward, continuing to grow. And that, my friend, is exactly what has them trembling now. Not because you fought back in the way they expected, not because you played their game, but because you simply refused to be destroyed by it. You absorbed the impact, you processed the pain, you allowed yourself to feel everything you needed to feel, and then you kept going. The first card that came through for you is the Seven of Swords, and I have to tell you, when this card appears in a reading about karma and people who worked against you, it is incredibly revealing. This card is literally about deception, about sneaky behavior, about someone taking what does not belong to them or operating with hidden agendas. So right away, the cards are confirming what you already know in your gut. Whatever happened to you, whatever these people did, it was not honest. It was not direct. They did not come to you with their issues or concerns. They worked in the shadows. They talked behind your back. They may have smiled to your face while undermining you behind the scenes. Classic Seven of Swords energy. But here is where it gets interesting, and this is what I want you to really hear. The Seven of Swords in this position is not just describing what they did to you. It is showing you the very foundation upon which they built their actions. Everything they did was based on deception, which means everything they built is fundamentally unstable. Think about it like this. If you build a house on sand, it does not matter how impressive the house looks or how much time you spent constructing it. The foundation is not solid, so eventually, inevitably, it is going to collapse. That is what is happening with these people right now. The very tactics they used against you, the lies, the manipulation, the sneaking around, those are the same things that are now causing their whole situation to crumble. I am seeing this scenario where they thought they were so clever. They probably spent time planning, coordinating, maybe even practiced what they were going to say or do. They invested energy into this deception, and initially it might have looked like it was working. Maybe you were hurt, maybe you were confused, maybe there was a period where it seemed like they had actually succeeded in whatever they were trying to accomplish. But the Seven of Swords carries within it the seeds of its own undoing. Because when you operate from deception, you cannot ever really relax. You have to keep track of your lies. You have to remember who you told what to. You have to maintain this false image constantly. And that is exhausting. That takes so much energy. So, meanwhile, you were dealing with the aftermath of their actions, yes, but you were also free in a way they will never be. You were free to feel your real feelings, free to process honestly, free to heal authentically. You did not have to maintain any facades. You did not have to keep your story straight. You just had to be real with yourself about what happened and how it affected you. And while they were using up all their energy maintaining their deceptive structure, you were using your energy to actually grow and transform. Every tear you cried watered new growth within you. Every night you spent questioning everything led you to deeper understanding. Every moment you felt alone strengthened your connection to yourself and to the divine. The Seven of Swords is showing me that these people are now trapped in the very web they wove. They cannot admit what they did without exposing themselves. They cannot come clean without facing consequences. They cannot move forward authentically because they have invested so much in this false narrative. So they are just stuck there, holding onto their swords, their deceptive tools, but finding that those tools no longer give them any real power. And you know what the most interesting part is? They thought taking you down would elevate them somehow. They thought that by diminishing you, they would look bigger. But the opposite has happened. You have risen simply by refusing to sink to their level. You have grown simply by choosing to respond to darkness with light, to respond to deception with truth, to respond to cruelty with continued kindness towards yourself and others who deserve it. The Seven of Swords is essentially telling you that everything they tried to steal from you, your peace, your reputation, your confidence, your joy, they could never actually take any of it. They could create temporary disturbances, sure. They could cause you pain, absolutely. But they could not fundamentally change who you are or stop the trajectory of your growth. And that is what has them trembling now. Now, the second card that appeared is the Hanged Man, and Pisces. This one made me pause because it is so deeply significant for what you have been through. The Hanged Man is about suspension, about being in a position where you cannot move in the traditional sense, where you have to surrender to a process that feels completely out of your control. Does this resonate with how you felt during the worst of whatever these people put you through? Like you were just suspended there, unable to fight back in the ways you might have wanted to, unable to defend yourself effectively because the attacks were so underhanded, unable to make people see the truth because they had already been fed lies? The Hanged Man period is one of the most difficult experiences anyone can go through because it requires a level of surrender that goes against every instinct we have. When we are attacked, we want to fight. When we are lied about, we want to scream the truth. When we are hurt, we want immediate justice. But the Hanged Man says no, not yet. You have to hang here for a while. You have to see things from this inverted perspective. You have to let go of your need to control the outcome. And I know how hard that was for you. Pisces, you feel everything so deeply. Your emotional world is so rich and complex. To be suspended in pain, to be helpless while people who hurt you seem to be moving freely, to have to just trust that something bigger was at work when all the evidence suggested otherwise, that takes incredible strength. But here is what the Hanged Man teaches us, and here is why this card appearing in your reading right now is actually incredibly powerful. The Hanged Man does not stay suspended forever. The Hanged Man is not being punished. The Hanged Man is gaining perspective that can only be achieved from that uncomfortable position. While you were in your Hanged Man phase, unable to take action in conventional ways, unable to fight back directly, something profound was happening. You were seeing things you would never have seen otherwise. You were understanding people at a level you never would have reached if everything had stayed comfortable. You were developing wisdom that only comes from being forced to surrender your ego and trust something greater than yourself. The people who came against you, they never had their Hanged Man moment. They never had to surrender. They never had to question themselves deeply. They just kept operating from the same level of consciousness that led them to attack you in the first place. So while you were evolving, they were stagnating. While you were gaining sight, they were going blind to their own issues. And now is when the Hanged Man rises. Now is when you come out of that suspension with gifts they do not possess. You have perspective, you have wisdom, you have genuine strength that was forged in the fire of that difficult period. You have compassion even, not for what they did, but for how small and scared someone has to be to operate the way they did. The Hanged Man in this reading is telling you that what felt like your weakest moment, what felt like the time when you were most vulnerable and powerless, that was actually when you were becoming most powerful in the ways that truly matter. They were celebrating what they thought was your defeat, not realizing they were watching your transformation. I am seeing clearly that these people are now experiencing their own version of suspension, but theirs is not leading to growth. Theirs is just stuckness. They are trapped in the consequences of their actions. They are hanging in the discomfort of realizing that bringing you down did not actually lift them up. They are suspended in the recognition that they are no better off, possibly worse off, for all their scheming. And this brings me to the third card, which is the Moon. Oh, Pisces, the Moon is your card in so many ways, is not it? You understand the realm of the Moon instinctively. You know about illusions and intuition, about what is hidden beneath the surface, about the journey through uncertainty towards clarity. The Moon appearing here is telling me that during the time when you were being attacked, when these people were working against you, there was so much confusion. Nothing was clear. You could not see the full picture. You might have questioned your own perceptions, wondered if you were making things up or being paranoid. The Moon phase is deeply disorienting. But here is what these people did not understand about the Moon. The Moon does not just represent confusion. It represents the path through confusion to truth. The Moon is about trusting your intuition even when the logical mind cannot make sense of what is happening. The Moon is about allowing the unconscious to rise up and reveal what has been hidden. You navigated the Moon phase, Pisces. You walked through that confusing, scary territory where nothing made sense and people were not who they seemed to be. You dealt with the illusions, both the ones other people were creating and the ones you might have had about these individuals. You faced your fears about not being enough, about being too trusting, about all the things that get triggered when people betray us. These people thought the confusion worked in their favor. They thought that by keeping things murky, by operating in shadows, by making sure the truth was hard to see clearly, they would be protected. And maybe for a time they were. Maybe during the Moon phase they did get away with things. Maybe people could not see clearly what they had done. But the Moon always gives way to the sun eventually. The night always ends. What was hidden always comes to light. And that is exactly what is happening now. The Moon phase is ending for this situation, and as it does, as clarity dawns, these people are being exposed, not necessarily in a dramatic public way, though that might happen for some of you, but exposed in the sense that the illusions they created are falling apart. People are starting to see through the lies. The confusion is lifting, and truth is becoming visible. And they are absolutely panicking because they built everything on those illusions holding. I am hearing the phrase trembling inside very clearly, and it is connected to this Moon energy. They are trembling because the very darkness they used as cover is now dissipating. They are trembling because they are starting to see themselves clearly, and they do not like what they see. They are trembling because the karmic consequences are beginning, and they realize there is nothing they can do to stop it. The Moon is also showing me that your intuition about this whole situation was right all along. Every weird feeling you had, every moment where your gut told you something was off, every instinctive sense that these people were not genuine, you were right. Your Piscean intuition was picking up on exactly what was happening, even when you could not prove it, even when others might have told you that you were wrong. And that matters, Pisces, because one of the most damaging things about deceptive people is how they make you doubt yourself. They make you question your own perceptions. They make you feel like maybe you are too sensitive or too suspicious or seeing things that are not there. But the Moon in this reading is validation that you were never wrong about them. You saw true, you sensed accurately, your intuition was functioning perfectly. The fourth card I pulled is the Empress, and this is where the energy really shifts into something beautiful. The Empress is about abundance, creativity, nurturing, growth, and natural power. She is fertile ground. She is the garden that blooms. She is life itself expressing through form. The Empress appearing in your reading right now is such a stark contrast to what these people represent. They were operating from scarcity, from fear, from a belief that they had to take you down to have room to rise. But the Empress knows that there is enough for everyone. The Empress does not need to destroy other gardens to make her own bloom. The Empress creates through love, not through manipulation. And Pisces, this is showing me that while they were wasting their energy trying to diminish you, you have been growing in ways they cannot even comprehend. The Empress is about natural, organic growth. It is about being so connected to Source, so aligned with your authentic self, that abundance just flows through you naturally. I am seeing that you have been creating, have you not? Maybe not in obvious ways, maybe not in ways they can see or measure, but you have been birthing new versions of yourself. You have been nurturing your dreams, even in secret. You have been planting seeds for your future, even while dealing with the pain they caused. That is Empress energy. And the beautiful thing about the Empress is that her abundance is inevitable. You cannot stop a garden from growing if the conditions are right. You cannot prevent life from expressing itself. These people thought they could stunt your growth, limit your expansion, keep you small, but the Empress laughs at such notions. Life finds a way, growth happens, abundance flows. I am getting this image of them looking at you now, or looking at your energy, your vibe, your life, and just being confused. They thought you would be destroyed. They expected you to be broken, diminished, smaller than before. Instead, you are blooming. Maybe not in ways that are loud or obvious to everyone, but you know, you feel it. You are more yourself than you have ever been. You are more connected to your power, your creativity, your worth. The Empress does not need validation from others. She does not need everyone to see her beauty to know she is beautiful. She does not need applause to know she is valuable. She just exists in her fullness, and that is enough. That is everything. And this is what has them trembling, what has them crying out in their impotence, as the reading title suggests. They threw everything they had at you, and not only did it not work, but you are actually thriving. You are in your Empress energy. You are abundant. You are creative. You are powerful in the most genuine sense of the word. Meanwhile, what do they have? They have the hollow victory of having hurt someone. They have the emptiness of having invested all that energy into destruction instead of creation. They have the poverty that comes from operating from scarcity and fear. They are not growing. They are not blooming. They are not abundant. They are stuck, barren, increasingly aware that they wasted precious time and energy on something that ultimately meant nothing. The Empress is telling you to keep nurturing yourself. Keep creating, keep growing, keep being generous with your love, your kindness, your gifts, but give them to people and situations that deserve them, that can appreciate them, that will not try to use them against you. Build your garden. Let it be so beautiful, so abundant, so full of life that anyone who sees it understands instantly that you are blessed, that you are favored, that the universe absolutely has your back. The fifth card that came through is the Hierophant. And I find this so interesting because the Hierophant is about tradition, about established systems, about spiritual wisdom and divine order. The Hierophant represents the belief that there are greater laws at work than just human whims and desires. In the context of your reading, the Hierophant is basically saying that cosmic law is on your side. There are spiritual principles that govern how energy works in this universe, and those people violated pretty much all of them. They violated the principle of treating others as you want to be treated. They violated the law of karma. They violated the understanding that what you put out comes back to you. The Hierophant does not play favorites. The Hierophant does not care about excuses or justifications. The Hierophant simply upholds divine order. And divine order dictates that you cannot sow seeds of deception, manipulation, and harm without eventually reaping a harvest of consequences. These people might have thought they were above such laws. They might have believed that if they were clever enough, sneaky enough, careful enough, they could escape the natural consequences of their actions. But the Hierophant is showing up to tell you, no, Absolutely not. That is not how this works. I am seeing that there is a spiritual weight to what they did. It was not just mean or unkind, it was a violation of sacred principles. They went against the flow of universal love. They acted from ego and separation instead of from unity and connection. And the Hierophant energy is now bringing that into balance. This does not mean they are being punished by some vengeful god. The universe is not cruel, but it is just. The Hierophant represents the understanding that we live in a lawful universe where actions have consequences, where energy must balance, where what goes around truly does come around. You, on the other hand, have been operating in alignment with Hierophant principles, maybe without even realizing it. You have been honoring yourself, which is sacred. You have been trusting in something greater than yourself, which is spiritual wisdom. You have been trying to live with integrity even when others were not. And the Hierophant rewards that. The Hierophant is telling me that you are being blessed right now in ways that might not be obvious yet. Doors are opening for you, opportunities are aligning, people who can actually help you, who recognize your worth, who operate from integrity themselves, they are being brought into your path. This is divine orchestration. Meanwhile, these people are finding that the doors they thought were open are closing. The opportunities they thought they had secured are falling through. The support they thought they had is evaporating. Because the Hierophant, divine order, is reorganizing everything to reflect the truth of people's characters and actions. I want you to trust this process, Pisces. I know it can be hard when you are a sensitive soul who just wants peace and harmony. I know you might sometimes wonder if you should have fought harder or defended yourself more aggressively, but the Hierophant is telling you that you did exactly what you were supposed to do. You trusted in a higher power. You believed in karma. You had faith that truth would prevail, and it is prevailing. The sixth and final card is the Six of Swords and Pisces. This is such a perfect card to end on because it is literally about moving away from difficulty toward calmer waters. The Six of Swords is about transition, about leaving troubled times behind, about journeying toward peace and better circumstances. This card is confirmation that you are already in motion away from all of this. While these people are stuck in their karma, trembling in their realization that they could not bring you down, you are moving. You are transitioning. You are leaving this chapter behind. The Six of Swords often shows someone in a boat being carried across water. Water is your element, Pisces. You understand the emotional realm. You know how to navigate feelings. And this card is telling me that you are using your emotional intelligence, your spiritual awareness, your intuitive gifts to carry yourself to a much better place. What I love about the Six of Swords is that it acknowledges the journey is not always easy or instant. You are in transition, which means you are between where you were and where you are going. You might still feel some of the pain from what happened. You might still have moments of anger or hurt. You might still be processing everything. And that is okay. The Six of Swords says you do not have to be completely healed to start moving forward. You just have to be willing to leave the battlefield behind. These people, they are not in the boat with you. They are stuck back on the shore you are leaving, dealing with the mess they created, facing the consequences of their actions, trembling as they watch you sail away towards something better while they remain in the chaos. The Six of Swords is also about mental peace. After all the confusion of the moon, after the suspension of the Hanged Man, after everything you went through, your mind is starting to clear. You are finding peace with what happened. Not because it was okay or because you approve of how they behaved, but because you are choosing not to let it define your future. You are taking the lessons with you. The wisdom you gained, the strength you discovered, the clarity about who deserves your energy and who does not, all of that comes with you in the boat, but the pain, the confusion, the drama, that stays behind. And here's something powerful that I am sensing. These people thought the story would end with them winning and you losing. But the Six of Swords is showing me that the story does not end there at all. The real story is just beginning. The real story is about where you go from here, what you build, who you become, what you create with all this hard-won wisdom. They get to stay in the old story, replaying their small victories that turned into defeats, dealing with their karma, watching you from a distance, and wondering how you managed to rise above it all. But you get to write new chapters. You get to explore new territories. You get to discover parts of yourself that only emerged because you went through this. So Pisces, as I bring this reading to a close, I want you to really take in what these 6 cards have shown us. The 7 of Swords revealed their deceptive tactics and how those very tactics have trapped them. The Hanged Man showed your period of necessary surrender that led to profound transformation they will never experience. The Moon represented the confusion and illusions that are now clearing, exposing truth. The Empress demonstrated your natural growth and abundance that nothing could truly stop. The Hierophant confirmed that divine order and cosmic law are actively balancing this situation in your favor. And the 6 of Swords promises that you are moving toward calmer, better, more peaceful times. They trembled inside because deep down, they always knew. They knew they were acting from darkness. They knew they were being deceptive. They knew they were trying to harm someone who did not deserve it. And now they are trembling because they are watching karma work in real time. They are crying out in impotence because despite everything they did, despite working alone or as a pack, despite all their planning and scheming, they could not break you. You will see their karma unfold. You are already seeing it. Not because you are seeking revenge or focusing on them, but simply because the universe shows us when balance is restored. You will notice them struggling where they thought they would succeed. You will see them isolated where they thought they would be celebrated. You will witness them facing the very things they tried to make you face. And through it all, you will continue to rise. You will continue to grow. You will continue to become more fully yourself. Because that is who you are, Pisces. You are the one who transforms pain into wisdom, who turns betrayal into boundaries, who alchemizes hurt into healing. Keep moving forward in your boat. Keep trusting the journey. Keep nurturing your garden. Keep honoring the divine order that is clearly working on your behalf. And know that everything they tried to destroy within you is actually stronger, more beautiful, and more powerful than ever before. The universe has your back. The cards make that abundantly clear, and these people will continue to tremble as they realize just how badly they miscalculated, just how completely they underestimated you, just how thoroughly karma has caught up with them while you sail toward horizons they cannot even imagine.